Hello again. My name is Brant Hunt. That is, my channel is simply called Discerning What Is True. What I want to do today, I'm going to do another chapter maybe later on, but what I want to talk about is this particular author I've been speaking about here, which is the author of Zev Ben Shimon Halevi, if I'm pronouncing it correct. Um, Sorry if I have not. I didn't mean to butcher it. So he was born. His English name was simply called Warren Kenton, Kenton. He was born in January 8th, 1933, and passed away in September 21st, in 2020. So he's been gone for probably over 5 years. Was the author of books on what they call the Tole, Tole Dano, tradition of Kabbalah, a teacher of the discipline with a worldwide following, and a founding member of the Kabbalistic or Kabbalah Society, which was a London-based organization that was founded in the early 1970s to promote what is known as Toledo tradition of Kabbalah. Initial research into first taught by Zev Ben Shimon Halevi. Currently, it is also taught by a number of tutors worldwide. That is, his early life he was born into a Jewish family in London, January 8, 1933, where he continued to live and work along with his wife, Rebecca. On his family side of the family, he was descended from a rabbinical, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it, Sephardi, this is how you pronounce it, Sephardi line with roots in Bess Arabia, which was at the turn of the 20th century a province of Russia. On his mother's side, he was descended from a Polish Ashkenazi family. His Ashkenazi great-grandfather was Zerah Barnet, Sbarnet, who helped found the Orthodox Mia Shelrim district, post just outside the old city of Jerusalem, and a Hebrew Yeshagava. Again, like I said, I don't know Jewish language here, so I'm trying not to butcher it. Many of his publications are issued upon the Hebrew name, naturally, a contraction of his full family name. It's very long. It's just simply Zev Ben Shimon Ben Joshua Haham Halevi. The name Haham is applied to a lineage of teachers in Sephardi, I should say, culture. It means, quote, wise one, end quote. Both his paternal and maternal families were Levites. So that would mean it would be part of the supposedly of the temple long ago, according to family records. When his grandfather migrated to England in 1900, the surname Haham was recorded as Kaufman, Kaufman. It was later changed to Kenton, Kenton. When World War II began, he and his family moved to a small village just beyond Beaconville. He attended primary and secondary school in the town, but he later moved back to London as a student of the St. Martin School of Art and the Royal Academy, studying painting during his time there. He remained in London for the rest of his life. After college, he kept up his artwork, some of which was commissioned. Other work included working in general and psychiatric hospitals, as well as in the theater workshop and at the Royal Opera House. Besides theater work and practicing graphic design, he also taught at RADA, and the Architectural Association. He ran workshops for the WREKIN Trust, was a charity founded by Sir George Trevelyan in 1971 under the active encouragement of Air Marshal Victor Goddard. Its stated purpose is non-sectarian spiritual education and aim to create, quote, safe meeting spaces for connections, dialogue, learning, and social action. He also lectured at the Theosophical Society, which was the organization body of Theosophical, esoteric new religion movement. It was founded in New York City. So this would be with what's her name, Helene Valesky, Blavatsky, I should say, a Russian mystic and principal thinker of the Theosophical movement. He also was involved with Henry. Hold on a second here. What we got here? Well, it doesn't show that, does it? It's not showing it. I thought it would show that, but it doesn't. Okay, back to this part here. And he also, where was he at here? He was at the Royal College of Art and the Prince of Wales Institute of Architecture. So he had other interests. He was not only interested in art, he was also interested in Institute of Architecture. Later career, Kabbalistic work. Kenton first began studying Kabbalah at the age of 25 as a self-taught student, believing that he was directed by spiritual helpers. He began teaching in 1969, having placed notes on notice boards in places such as the Architectural Association School of Architecture, where he was a sometime tutor, that is, together with Keith Christianlow, inviting individuals interested in philosophy to contact him. Then a Goethe tradition tactic employed on the advertising hoardings of the London Underground. So this was what Goethe did. Which I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but that was something that was involved. Goethe was also involved with the tactic of putting advertising boardings all over the place in order to get people to come. He then began a series of weekly group meetings at his flat in Holland Park, believing that he was carrying on an old Dutch Kabbalist tradition known as the Brethren of the Common Life. Well, that's interesting. In brackets, it says, which may have been a misunderstanding of a pious tradition. Yes, indeed. Of the same name in the Netherlands in the 14th century. Yes. Anyone that knows anything a little bit about church history, with that name comes up. He expressed zero interest in modern philosophy. Kenton later visited nearly all the old major centers of Kabbalah and used in Europe and North Africa and Israel, while specializing in what he called the Tordano tradition, a form that derives from the Sephardi Kabbalah, which developed in early medieval Spain and France, and which included among its focal points the towns of Lunel, Lunel, in the city of Toledo in Spain. These and other centers flowered, producing among their practitioners of mysticism and Kabbalistic history, Kabbalah Isaac the Blind, Azarai of Geroni, and some others here. During this period, Kabbalists incorporated into their expositions and exegesis a degree of Neoplatonic imaginations, first introduced into Spain by Solomon Ibn Gebra, that conformed to the requirements of Jewish theology and philosophy to some extent in medieval times. It conflicted with the Aristotle approach to Jewish philosophy by Maimonides and his followers, and defined by the provincial Catalan Kabbalists. Imagination was concerned with how the transcendent God called Ein Sof, EINSOF, by Kabbalists called potentialities to flow into existence via what became known as the 10 sephiroths in order to bring about creation. And I won't go any more in that because it goes into a lot of details. He did travel widely. He ran a continual series of Way of Kabbalah courses and lectures held in many countries, including America, Australia, Brazil, Canada, England, Germany, Holland, Israel, Japan, Mexico, Scotland, and Spain. Few of his lectures have been published, and few still are online, similar with his articles. Over the years, he also took part in a series of interviews for various media. He also was a well-known writer, and as he was a teacher of Kabbalah, having published 18 books, including a Kabbalistic novel and books on astrology and Kabbalistic astrology. Contemporary astrologers such as Judy Hall, Judy Hall, referred to the work he has done on the latter. So I assume it's to do with Kabbalistic astrology. In the early part of the career, he wrote a number of books on stagecraft. Both he and his work on Tornado tradition are publicly recognized, and his work has now been translated into 16 languages to date, including Hebrew. He also set up an annual summer school that is aided by his wife, which regularly included students from around the world. And he started up an annual series of workshops in London. At his home, he also held regular weekly meetings during term time of the London Kabbalah group. This part of the work continued for many years. He was also one of the founder members of the Kabbalah Society, which was set up to encourage the study of late, I guess this would say C12 and early C13. I guess it's century. I'm assuming this, guessing this, and early 13th Kabbalah in Provincia and in Spain. He died at his home in London on the 21st day of September in 2020. So that was just, this was a little over 5 years ago after a short illness. He was also involved a little bit more. I'll say he has had some influence upon King Charles III. In an introduction to the Sacred Web Conference, University of Alberta, in Edmonton, Alberta, that is, 23rd and 24th day of September 2006 at the University of Athena, Alberta, I should say. King Charles III, a patron of the Tanmesia Academy, and when talking of the tension between tradition and modernism. And the dilemma captured, this dilemma is captured in ancient notions of balance and harmony, notions that are, for example, expressed in many guises in that wonderful Kabbalistic diagram of the tree of life. As Warren Kennington so beautifully explains to his lectures to the students in the academy, the teaching of the tree of life is that the quote active end quote and the quote passive end quote aspects of life, which on their own may lead to imbalance and disharmony, can only be brought together in harmony by the influx into our lives of the divine and the sacred. Whether or not we interpreted this image as an explanation of an outer or inner orientation, it is in this way and only in this way that the forces or characteristics of expansion and constraint can be brought into balance. This is back in November of 2010. There is, see if there's anything else here more. There's other things here. Kathleen Raine, R-A-I-N-E, a feature of this author system not found in others, although doubtlessly it is traditionally thought, not universally taught, is the beautiful way in which the interfaces of each world overlap with the one above. And that's correct. Thus, the highest experience of the physical world overlaps the lower part of the next world, the psychological. And again, the psyche highest experience of the individual soul coincides with the spiritual regions of the transpersonal world of universal forms. So from illumination to illumination, we reascend the ladder, while which each of us, quote, came down to earth from heaven. The awe-inspiring sublimity of the Kabbalistic universe at once convinces and comforts. It is our destiny to descend and to fulfill some task, learn some lessons in the natural world, as it is to follow the path of return, to reascend from world to world, no matter how many lifetimes this may take us before we return to our true home. Quote, the kingdom of heaven, end quote. This is from Kathleen Raine, again from Light magazine in spring of 1989. He was also criticized by some people. Professor of Kabbalah at Hebrew University of Jerusalem has bemoaned the hijacking of Kabbalah by various New Age authors and gave how they, as an example, Joseph Dan in his work, The Heart and the Foundation, and the Fountain, the analog, logical, and Jewish mystical experience, wrote in footnote 57 to the introduction, quote, another distressing phenomenon is connected with the numerous books concerning Kabbalah. Its History, Nature and Tradition, and Instructions for Modern Living, published by uh, Shimon, who is a nice English gentleman from Hampstead who does not know any Hebrew. His books were used as authentic scholarly source by many, including Simon Parpillio. So his early books were simply introducing stagecraft, play begins. This was other things to do with his documentary novel Upon the Mounting of a Play. This was 1971. Stage properties and how to make them. So this is some other things he was dealing with. And then he's also the books to deal with Kabbalah. Introduction to Kabbalah, Tree of Life, 1972 by Samuel Weisler. Adam and the Kabbalistic Tree, again by writer, I guess it's the publishing house in London in 1974. Kabbalistic Universe by Samuel Weisler. These are subsequent books on Kabbalah. A Kabbalah, A Tradition of Hidden Knowledge, Thames and Hudson, which is the book I have here that was recommended to me by Phil Langdon. This is it here, Tradition of Hidden Knowledge, which was published in 1979. Kabbalah and Exodus, which was published in Writer, 1980. And Samuel Weisler. So these are publishing houses. I think Samuel Weisler is a publishing house. And Gateway Books. The Work of Kabbalists, Gateway, 1984. The School of the Soul, Gateway Books. Psychology and Kabbalah, again by Gateway and Samuel Weisler. The Way of Kabbalah, Kabbalah, The Divine Plan by Harper Collins. Introduction to the World of Kabbalah, Kabbalah Society, Tree of Life Publications, which was UK, 2008. The Path of the Kabbalists, a autobiography, Kabbalah Society, Tree of Life Publishing, again in UK. Kabbalistic View of History, Kabbalah Society, Tree of Life Publishing, again in 2013. And Kabbalistic Contemplations, which was done by Bet L. Truss, which is in UK, 2021. His astrological works was As Above, So Below, a study in cosmic progression, from the publishing house Stewart and Watkins in 1969. Astrology, The Celestial Mirror, again by Warren Kenton, Thames and Hudson in 1974. Astrology and Kabbalah, published by Urania, Urania Trust, 2000, formerly published as The Anatomy of Fate by Gatewood Books, 1978. He also wrote The Anointed by Penguin Arcana, 1989, and Audio CD Way of Kabbalah Meditations, Tree of Life Publishing in UK in 2004. That's pretty much it. There are other places you can go. There's a Kabbalistic Kabbalah Society, which is based upon the tradition of Tor Leidano, which would be from Spain, is what I understand. And so I'm just looking it up right now. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that tangent here, so I'll just keep on going here. See if there's anything else I want to share. Let's see what else is here. Yeah, he has books. Most of his books are in Spanish. He was also was involved in a particular academy there also. He also had apparently development of his work as it relates to Judaism and its everyday world. And I'm looking at it now. So there's, I would really like to see, this is what they call jonathanclark.com is here, opening up to that. And then they go into Kabbalah and astrology, so to speak. But yeah, they actually still show a picture of him here, although he's deceased. There's a gentleman named Jonathan Clark and a gentleman named Michael Morales, Morales. Okay, so we're going to stop there. I don't want to keep going here, but there is, you can go to this particular, actually you can go to finding this thing here also, jonathanclark.com. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to share that because there's a lot here. He did a lot of books, quite a bit of books. And the only reason why I know about any of this stuff is because of Phil Langdon. Because I expressed some interest in it, and he told me, well, he told me this years ago, probably in 2022. And so I bought the book, but it sat on my shelf for a while until I got in contact with him and began to ask questions. But a lot of these questions had to do with the Bible and other things, also spiritual interests. So I just wanted to. So he wrote a ton of books. This guy did, but you noticed that I did share that some of those in the Judaism did not agree with his perspective. So, but anyway, that's another story. Okay, we're going to stop this particular video at this point. Since it's like 21 minutes. It's just important for you to understand a little bit about him because, frankly, he's dead now, unfortunately, and he lived to be, I guess, quite a long time, and so he had a fruitful life. He wrote a lot of books. He was widely involved in a lot of things, and in architecture he was involved in, but also in Kabbalah also. So, and so anyway, thank you for being here again. I just want to share this particular information about him because most Americans would not know who he is, and I trust Phil Langdon that basically he's the one that shared this with me, so it would probably be right on to what would be the truth. And so we'll stop there. Okay. Take care and have a good night. Take care.